Well, good afternoon. Welcome to St. Paul. So I stand here as a fellow Minnesotan, but also a proud resident, at least during the day hours of downtown St. Paul. And it's great to have you all here. So I have had a chance to connect with a number of you, but the last time I probably saw many of you was 6 months ago to the day when we had the Dorothy Day Community Breakfast. And it was at that breakfast that it was announced that I, Mary Brainard, and Andy Cesare would co-chair the fundraising, the private part of the fundraising for this great facility that we are already breaking ground for, but will ultimately be a campus housed on both sites. The importance of this is pretty obvious. So my route home takes me right by Dorothy Day every night. And so it doesn't take much to understand that there's a huge need. And so if you're at that breakfast, if you've seen the facility, or if you've spent any time at Dorothy Day, I think everybody understands how we have outgrown the facility, that the need is great. We are not stepping up in the proper way as a community, and we aim to fix that with this campaign and ultimately through Catholic Charities' great work, operating a great model based on the Minneapolis Higher Ground facility. So the campaign in total is $100 million. It's public-private. The public institutions as a collection will be contributing $60 million. So quick math, we're raising $40 million privately. And so also at that breakfast, we had a great head start to our campaign efforts. In fact, we had already raised, and I say the royal we, $10 million, which was a great, great beginning. And so that helped for sure, and a number of people have really stepped up. Since then, we've continued the great work and have raised an additional amount of money, which of course I'm going to wait because I'm not going to have this stolen, this lead. So we're making great progress. The reason we are is we've really built a great team. And so I believe on the slide is the campaign committee, that the total 15 of us that are out there every day. And this is identifying, making calls, making sure people understand the need, the story behind Higher Ground, how we are going to ultimately make a big, big difference in this community. And I will tell you, this story resonates and it's had a big impact. So in the last 6 months, what have we accomplished? I would say several things. It starts with that first $10 million, and that started with a $5 million gift from the Richard M. Schultz Family Foundation. It was a matching gift. But if you're going to go after a campaign like this, I can't tell you how important it is to have that kind of commitment up front because of the credibility that it gives the campaign, and also I would say how it also ignites, I think, people to do the right thing and push ahead and make huge gifts, bigger ones than they've ever done. So I want to say hats off there because it was really important. Now I've also learned that Dick and Maureen Schultz have recently visited Minnesota Higher Ground, and I think came away even more inspired about how important this gift is going to be to the community. So I want to start there. Now, at the breakfast 6 months ago, we also saluted other major gifts, which were very important because they were big and early. So one of those is the Fry Foundation, $1 million grant. Polad Foundation, $1 million grant, as well as the St. Paul, Bigelow, and Mardag Foundations, which together contributed another 1.1. Collectively, that 5 and those gifts is really what got us to the 25% mark just as we were walking out of the gate. So that's a good start, but today I'm pleased to say that we're well over the 50% mark. In fact, we're just shy of 60%. You know, I would kind of fudge it, but I got Andy Cesare here, and so that's kind of a problem. So we've been out there making requests, and I will tell you, this is, it's God's work. This is really fun. It's very easy to get passionate about because this money is so important, and it's going to make such a big difference in people's lives, and the reception has been phenomenal. Now, it does help that we've got Catholic Charities, Tim Marks and his organization behind us, because they have huge respect in the community, and people know that money raised here is going to be used in a very, very smart fashion. And so that's foundational as we go. So if you will bear with me, I would like to take a few minutes and recognize the gifts that we've already received, because I think we all owe a round of applause to those who've already stepped up, because we'd like to encourage those who haven't, that, there's a round of applause waiting for you. So first, let me start with those who've contributed over $100,000, the $100,000 to $250,000 range. And you can see the names up there. I will not go through and read them all, but I'd like to leave it up there long enough for you all to see it. So it is really a number of people have stepped up. I would point out, everybody on our committee has already made a very significant pledge towards this effort. So not only are they giving their time, their passion, but they're also giving their money, which is great. Next is a $250,000 to $500,000 gift level. And here again, we have a number of folks who really stepped up and made this a very, very big priority for their giving. And then we've also had a number of investments of $1 million or more. And so here, certainly, we've already highlighted a number of the early ones, back to the Polad and Fry Foundation, which is great. But this is critical, because if you're getting to 40, it's a lot easier to get some ones in there as you move here. And so Julie and I are proud to be here, Ecolab, US Bank, a number of other great, very important gifts as we've gone through here to move. The second category, and it's a slide with one name on it, Target, at $2 million. And so that's a very, very big gift, obviously. I'd make a couple points. Target's a very social company, and they love companionship. So anybody else who wants to give a $2 million gift, there is room. We can shrink the thing. We can move it over. We will make room on that slide. We'll get a bigger screen. There's a lot of ways to handle this. But look, Tim Baer, who is an executive vice president over there, who's also on our campaign committee, obviously had a lot to do with this gift. But I also want to make a call out to Brian Cornell, Laisha Ward, and Tracy Burton. I believe Tracy is here, so we can thank Tracy in person for the great gift. Thank you. And then last, but certainly not least, I want to reemphasize the original lead gift that we got from the Richard M. Schultz Family Foundation. So it's hard to underscore how important a gift like this is, particularly when you're starting a campaign. And so this has been critical. It's given credibility to the campaign. I think it gives all of us a lot of confidence that we know we're going to be here standing before you, hopefully in the not too distant future, talking about how we reached the 40 million. Well, it'll be largely because we started off with a huge matching grant from the Richard M. Schultz Family Foundation. So I know Mark Deanhart is here, I believe. Mark, can you identify yourself? Mark, thank you, and please pass on our huge appreciation. All right, so our exact number, it's somewhere on my slide here. It ended on $380, which I thought was pretty fun. It's like $23,690,380. So do I have 20 so I can round it off? Yeah, don't start there. All right, so we've crossed the halfway mark in our campaign. We really want to get this done quickly. This is a huge, compelling need. The community is behind this. Our bet was that the community would step up like it always has. It is. And we will be out seeking more campaign gifts. It's not that hard to figure out. So we need roughly another $16 million, which is just better than needing, $30 million. but we are going to be out there seeking help. And so I hope you become more inspired here today. And if anyone knows folks who we should be involving or getting involved, we would love to hear about it, because we think this work's so important. The faster we raise this money, the faster these buildings can go up, and the faster we will start meeting needs. So anyway, this is terrific. I'm going to now turn it back over to Mr. Tim Marks, who's going to take you through the next part of the program. Thank you.
Isn't that inspiring? I can't tell you how inspired all of us at Catholic Charities are when we have the leadership of Doug Baker, Mary Brainard, Andy Cesari, and the rest of the committee behind us. It's been a challenge at times keeping up with them, but we're doing our best. And think of the energy and the commitment and the drive and where we are, approaching 60% of our goal. It is simply awesome and awe-inspiring. And I know that many of those who have provided their gifts to this campaign are providing a gift unprecedented for them. Many are stretching and giving a charitable gift to this campaign much larger than they ever have before, and we simply can't thank you enough. It's really fun to be up here and look around this room and see everybody and look out at the construction. It really reminds me a lot of what Catholic Charities is about, because we are about serving and being for everyone, regardless of faith, background, or circumstance. And if you get a chance to look around, you will see a lot of faiths, you will see a lot of backgrounds, and you will see a lot of circumstances. So thank you so much for being here. And as we think about that, who are some of the people here? We are so fortunate to have our elected public leadership here, state and local, commissioners and dedicated staff who work tirelessly to make things like this happen, not often with a lot of credit. We are so grateful for all of your public service. And we have a variety of leaders from throughout the community here, from business, from labor, from nonprofits, from government, from all of the various sectors, from the academy, many of whom have come together to form, under the leadership of Mayor Coleman and Commissioner McDonough, an ambassadors committee who are going to promote this project. We are so grateful. Now, among the ambassadors committee are all the former living mayors of St. Paul, and we're so grateful to have them. We're still looking for the others, and we'll turn them up yet. We'll turn them up and get it on this committee. And a special call out to our labor leaders who have signed up. They sold us their building right across the way where Higher Ground is going to be coming up. And let's think about the workers who are going to toil each day to build Higher Ground. And they're going to do it this winter so that next winter, people who are sleeping at Dorothy Day can have a decent place to sleep. And why are we... Thank you. You're going to see some slides up here now just to refresh you on what we are trying to accomplish. But just think, when this project is completed, it's going to transform lives, and it is going to transform this entire community. Today we celebrate Higher Ground St. Paul. Ironically, we broke ground on Higher Ground Minneapolis, I just learned today, exactly 4 years ago today. And what is Higher Ground St. Paul going to mean? It is going to mean dignified shelter. It is going to mean housing for veterans, housing for people coming out of the hospital, and enough support so that they don't have to go back to the hospital. It is going to mean that they're no longer going to have to sleep on thin mats, inches apart, off a cold floor, parked in sardines in that room. And that means dignity, But we have to complete the entire project. We also need phase 2 of the project, and phase 2 is the Opportunity Center. The Opportunity Center is going to provide decent, healthy, nutritious meals. It's going to provide job training. It's going to have a Veterans Resource Center. It's going to have additional health care and mental health help and financial workers. It's going to have everything that is necessary to help people lead positive lives. And just as importantly, it's going to have more housing. so that when this project is all done, we're going to have the ability on this campus to provide homes for more than twice as many people as we can right now on this campus, more than twice as many homes. If all continues to go well, if this public-private partnership that we have built and is performing so well, if it continues to perform, this whole project will be completed in December 2018. And in projects like this, that is record pace. That is record pace. Now, today we celebrate the great work of the private campaign and the work of the committee and the progress that is made, but we also have to celebrate and acknowledge the significant public investment that is going into the new vision for the Dorothy Day Center. $25 million so far. Much of that by the state of Minnesota, but also local resources in there and more anticipated. Now, we're going to need your help to get more state resources, and we'll be calling on you for that help. But let's stop now and just acknowledge and recognize the unprecedented investments in housing and in our plan to prevent and end homelessness that have been provided by the state of Minnesota. Lead and transformative investments. And we are so grateful to have the leader of state government here today to celebrate with us. We have Governor Mark Dayton, who's going to offer some remarks in celebration of our work. Governor Dayton, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Tim. And I caught the significance of that part about $25 million so far. But I want to give real credit where credit is greatly due to you, Tim. You know, you've been a phenomenal leader of Catholic Charities, and it's your vision and your commitment to carrying that vision out that's really primarily responsible for all of our being here today. And so I really honor and salute you for that. As the Archbishop, it's a great honor for all of us to have you here. Thank you so very much. And everybody who's contributed to make this day happen. You know, in the midst of the growing prosperity in downtown St. Paul, this is so fitting that we set aside this space for the least of these, our brethren. And those of you who have contributed to make it possible, I thank you. For the public sector, I want to give special credit to our wonderful Commissioner of Housing and Finance, Mary Tingerthal, who spearheaded our effort here. And the legislators who graciously provided the additional funding, and well, I'm sure we'll be happy to come forward to do even more. I'll join you in that request, Tim, and all of them. So there's a community effort all the way, as it should be, and I'm just honored to be here with all of you today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Cesare, and a member of the campaign committee representing U.S. Bank. And first, I want to thank you, Governor Dayton, for your support and belief in this project. Thank you so much. I've been on this committee for 6 months, and I will tell you this has been just an enjoyable, wonderful experience. And I also don't want to pass up the opportunity to thank one person. Catholic Charities, we the committee, and this project, as well as this community, owe a great deal of gratitude to Tim Marks. He has the passion and commitment like I've never seen before, so thank you, Tim. So about a month ago, the senior management of U.S. Bank, Richard Davis, myself, and a number of other folks had the opportunity to volunteer at Dorothy Day. It was bankers and hairnets. It was an ugly sight. But two things struck me from that day. The first is when you see hundreds of individuals who are from 18 and 19 years old to 75 years old come by to be served food with all they own on their back, you're really moved by the fact that this is the one point of stability in their life, that time when they're there to get a meal or someplace to spend the evening. It's really the only thing that is stable in their life, and that Dorothy Day is able to provide that for them. And the more encouraging part of this is the new Dorothy Day. The higher ground is going to be even better. It's going to provide that meal and the housing, but it's also going to provide a path to permanent housing, job training, and it is a fantastic project, just a wonderful project. And it's also historic in terms of its public and private partnership. Probably no other community in the United States has this bond that we do to end homelessness and prevent this going forward. It is just wonderful. And I'm proud that U.S. Bank has been able to commit $1 million to this project. At the bank, we believe strongly in supporting the communities in which we serve. This is a great example of this. And at the bank, we have a particular warm spot in our heart for veterans. And veterans are going to be served with special services and housing at this. Again, a great example of that partnership between the private sector, the public sector, civic members across the community. We as a community should be so proud of what's going on. Now, we've heard from Governor Dayton representing the state, and we're lucky also to have with us to see this afternoon 2 other members of that public partnership, and one representing the city of St. Paul, Deputy Mayor Christian Beckman, as well as our Ramsey County Commissioner Tony Carter. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
I am deeply honored to be able to speak on behalf of Mayor Coleman today. He is very disappointed. He is in Nagasaki, Japan, so I think he's doing all right. But I know he would rather be here with you today. This is a very significant project for him and for all of us in the city of St. Paul. I also want to recognize the leadership from the St. Paul City Council who are here, Council President Stark, Council Members Bostrom and Tolbert, I'm not sure, and Councilmember Thune, particularly in his final stages on the City Council, for him welcoming this new project into his ward. Thank you very much for all of your leadership, particularly Councilmember Thune. You know, you might think I'm paid to say this, but I'm actually very proud of our mayor. I have always, as we volunteered as a family at the Dorothy Day Center, been very grateful for the shelter and the food and the comfort that we bring our residents here in the city of St. Paul. But it's always been a significance to me it's been a sign of we could do better as the city of St. Paul. We could do better, the folks there deserve better, that we weren't doing right by people. And I'm very proud of our mayor who, with the wind of Nancy Homans at his back, really, yes, oh, Nancy Homans love, stepped out and convened a task force in 2013 on how to create a new vision to prevent homelessness. And so here we are today. Some of you may know I used to work in the labor movement, so I spent a lot of time in 411 Main speaking words of social justice and taking action. So it is also very fitting to me that this is coming back home to that place there and the social justice that will be served up every day in that spot. So on behalf of the City Council, on behalf of the Mayor, Mayor Coleman, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing this in the City of St. Paul. Thank you to Catholic Charities and the leadership. Thank you to the campaign committee. Mr. Baker, thank you very much. Also, thank you for moving into the neighborhood. We appreciate that very much. We love the big sign. But it is deeply meaningful that we all came together to live up to the potential that we have in the City of St. Paul and to do right by all of our residents. Thank you.
I want to say thank you. I am Tony Carter, Ramsey County Commissioner, and I'm here representing Commissioner Jim McDonough, who is our board chair and who is also one of the co-chairs of the Ambassadors Committee. I want to thank also Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt, Ramsey County Commissioner, raise your hand, who's here with me. Also, as a member of our mayor's task force, I want to thank Mayor Coleman for being brave and bold and setting forth this vision and bringing all of us into this work together. We're here celebrating a dream. And I just want to capture a few words about dreaming because this is the response to a dream. And that dream is represented by some words that a poet, Langston Hughes, that I favor, has said many years ago. He said, and I'll paraphrase, that we're dreaming the world that we want to live in. And another poem about dreams, he said that for many, life ain't been no crystal stair. And then he said that if we hold fast to our dreams, the possibilities that we envision can become reality. Now, don't go look for all of that because that's definitely paraphrased, but those are thoughts from Langston Hughes. So I'm really thankful to be here celebrating the reality of a world that we dream, where every person will be able to have shelter, every person will be able to find home, where every person will have the opportunity to grow and to potentially be prosperous. That's the dream we're celebrating here today. And I, representing Ramsey County together with Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt, want to share with you that we share that dream. For Ramsey County, this is critical and important. So in addition to our financial contribution, this dream will allow us to partner and pair, not duplicate services, but find ways to help build pathways out of poverty for all of the people for whom we are concerned. Thank you so very much, all of you here today, for being a part of that dream.
We are so fortunate to have the best housing finance agency in the country and the best housing finance agency commissioner in the country, Mary Tinkerfeld.
Thank you, Tim. One of the first people to greet me into my new job when Governor Dayton appointed me in 2011 was Tim Marks, who was State Housing Commissioner number 4, and I'm State Housing Commissioner number 6, and he often greets me that way. So Tim joined Catholic Charities here about the same time that I started out as Housing Commissioner, and we've been on quite a journey since then. I noted as we were seeing the slides that at the top of the slide, there's something that really resonated with me, and that is dignified shelter, permanent homes, pathways out of poverty. And at Minnesota Housing, we just recently adopted a new strategic plan. And what that strategic plan says is that housing is the platform for success. And that's why we're here today, because it's really tough to think about what your life is going to be like, how you're going to be successful when you don't have a place to call home. And so I applaud all of you who have already stepped up for the capital campaign and will really help as we see the walls rise across the street and see a year from now a really dignified place for people to live. I also want to let my boss, Governor Dayton, know that the miracle of the loaves and fishes continues with this project, where we awarded a year ago $19 million for the construction of the first phase of Dorothy Day. And about halfway through the year, Tim Marks called me up and said, "Mary, we've got a different idea. We're going to sell some federal housing tax credits, get $5 million into this project, and give $2 million back to you." And they did exactly that. So we've got some seed capital to hopefully bring into the next phase of the project, but it will take a commitment of additional funds under what we call the Housing Infrastructure Bond Program. And I want to thank my colleague Rena Moran, who helped in leading in the state legislature, in the Housing Committee, and all the other legislative leaders that took up the challenge from Governor Dayton to create something called $50 million Homes for All campaign, which we then collectively made $100 million. So we're pleased to be a big part of this first phase, and we wish you the best of luck with that capital campaign, Tim. Thank you.
I'm Mary Brainard from Health Partners, and I'm also part of the campaign committee. And I appreciate the comments from the commissioners and from the deputy mayor. We're really glad that you're here today to be part of this celebration, and appreciate your comments very much. I want to do a couple of things. The first is I want to let you know why I'm part of this campaign. And the first is because I work in healthcare. So when you look at the knowledge and understanding about health that exists today, it turns out that yes, health is an individual attribute. So my health is unique to me, yours is to you. But there's also a huge community component to health. So it turns out that health is actually a community attribute.
and stable housing, education, good jobs, safe neighborhoods have as profound an impact on health as the healthcare system itself. So I care about that. The second reason I care is more personal. A few years ago, and so you will know this really stuck with me, I was at Regents Hospital on Christmas Eve, getting ready to go home to my family and comfortable holiday. I got on an elevator with a woman who seemed like she was getting there to kind of settle in. And I said, well, I hope you're having a good holiday season and Merry Christmas. And she said, oh yeah, I'm having a great time of it. She said, this is the first year that I have lived in an apartment independently as an adult in my whole life. And I said, that's great, congratulations. And why are you visiting somebody here? What are you here for? And she said, well, my greatest support system is the staff in the emergency department at Regents Hospital. And that broke my heart, because we all know the connection between stable housing, support system, stable lives, and jobs. And that's the dynamic, that's the virtuous cycle we're trying to create with this project here in building a new Dorothy Day. So I care about it because the memory of that woman goes with me every day when I go to work, every day when I decide what to spend my time on, and every day when we decide where to commit our charitable giving. So I mentioned that health is a community attribute. Well, as it turns out, so is economic vitality. Shared success, social justice, and economic growth go hand in hand. It is not one or the other, it is both. And that's what we're here about as well. So, we're here to shape a new future for Dorothy Day because we care about both social justice and economic vitality. Now, in healthcare, we sometimes get a view of what's not working in our system. We see the people coming to the emergency department in crisis, untreated blood pressure that's led to heart disease or stroke, untreated diabetes that's led to incredible health complications. Our nurses have been among the very first people from our hospital who have wanted to work on this project. Why? Because they see firsthand the tragedy of discharging people from the hospital who don't need to be there any longer, but who don't have a safe place to live, don't have a safe place to lay their head at night. And it's why Health Partners' involvement in this effort begins with creating that new medical respite capability where we can send patients to a place to be safe as they leave the hospital. We also see the impact of untreated mental illness that can lead from stability to homelessness. And I need you to know we're seeing more and more veterans who are facing that challenge every single day. So the vision here is a powerful one. Dignified shelter, health care, counseling, support that's needed, and permanent homes. And I'm just so proud to be part of an effort that's going to lead to all that work as part of the new Dorothy Day. I want to add one more thing before closing and leading to a little celebration, and that is sometimes we think of people who use Dorothy Day as other, that it's those most in need. Well, I want to remind everyone that could be us. That could be you, that could be me. We're all just one step away from a layoff, a recession, a foreclosure, a mental health crisis, or frankly, serving in the military that could change our lives forever and make this incredible resource important to each and every one of us and our families as well. The people we serve at Dorothy Day have hopes and dreams and talents and capabilities, and it's tapping into those gifts that's another important part of the work that we want to do. In closing, we're here today to celebrate progress, to build energy to reach our goal, to recognize the special impact that Dorothy Day has had on human lives and the even greater impact Dorothy Day will have in the future. So I want to introduce the best part of our celebration. So So if you're walking in downtown St. Paul on a Thursday evening, you might just hear a little bit of magic. On Thursdays, the Giving Voice Choral Project, comprised of Catholic Charities guests, gathers next door to sing spirituals and make beautiful music. Some sleep in the Dorothy Day Center, some live in Mary Hall and other Catholic Charities sites. Others have been able to move on to homes of their own, but return each week to give their voices in song. Directed by Karen Barrett, they are joined in song by members of the St. Paul Vocal Forum, and they have been working really hard to prepare this song, especially for this event today. Thank you for sharing your talents with us today, and let's give them a round of applause.
Together, we can build a home for all. When we work together.